Hello everyone, you are watching a snippet of Countdown July 13, 2023. Today is Thursday. See the full version on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. And I'm moving on to the main topic. The NATO summit ended in Vilnius. And not everyone liked the results. Despite outward smiles and handshakes, the summit was hot. The atmosphere sparkled with the severity and ambiguity of decisions, beyond which a horizon of grave consequences could be seen. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said there could be no justification for Ukraine's NATO membership being delayed again. The last objection was that Ukraine's accession to NATO could provoke Putin. Well, we have already seen what happens when Ukraine is not in NATO. This provokes the worst war in Europe in 80 years, Johnson said. The day before, Zelensky's harsh rhetoric, hinting that Western partners had deceived Ukraine into joining the alliance, was met with no approval, with the words that the Ukrainian president was going too far. First, there is a basic rule. A country that is right now at war with another state cannot be accepted into NATO. Secondly, it is necessary to meet certain standards. Let's face it, Ukraine is not Finland or Sweden. And then the entry of the latter is far from smooth. The reasons are foreign policy, but it is a fact. Yes, you are at war, it is hard for you, you are under attack, but you are receiving unprecedented military assistance, about the fate of which partners have more and more questions. Zelensky was reminded that security guarantees would be given to Ukraine, and the readiness to accept the country into the alliance would be reaffirmed. At the same time, at the summit, NATO leaders were specifically looking for a wording that would look like Ukraine's progress on the path to the bloc and which Kyiv could present as a success without bringing a possible conflict between NATO and Russia closer. British Defence Minister Ben Wallace spoke, perhaps, harshest of all, lamenting that Ukraine sometimes forgets to thank partners for their help and is in a hurry to put up new lists of what is needed. We are not Amazon, Wallace tartly remarked, hinting that this is voluntary assistance, and not a process of buying and selling in a store, and even more so that the delivered weapons and equipment cannot be resold. Zelensky's meeting with Biden, although outwardly it looked soft and friendly, had a lot of pitfalls with subtext. After the meeting, while talking to reporters, Biden acknowledged that Ukraine would not be able to join NATO before the end of the war, but noted that Western countries had found another mechanism to ensure its security. Zelensky now understands one thing: the issue of NATO membership does not matter, since he has our promises, Biden said, and compared this mechanism to how we deal with Israel. Speaking at the final press conference after the NATO summit, President Zelensky acknowledged that, the moment the war ends, Ukraine will definitely be invited to NATO. I have not heard any other opinions here, he added. And once again he emphasized that the territories of Ukraine, captured by the aggressor, cannot be the subject of bargaining for peace in principle. We will never exchange any status for our territories, even if it is one village where one grandfather lives. We will not give up our territories, partners know this, Zelensky said. Thus, the prospect of joining NATO remains, albeit without a fixed date, but with the firm condition of ending the war and meeting all standards, including a qualitative reduction in the level of corruption and bringing the legal framework to the norms of modern democracy. And this is the most difficult thing, because it forces you to tear off the mental tail of the scoop that has been trailing Ukrainian society throughout all the post-Soviet decades. See this and other stories in full on Patreon. Become our patrons now and look further in this program. The new agreements of Ukraine on the supply of weapons have become the reason for another nuclear hysteria from Moscow. The head of the Russian Foreign Ministry, Lavrov, said that Russia views the future transfer of F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine as a nuclear threat from the West. Negative selection continues among the Russia's generals. On the eve of the head of the General Staff Gerasimov got rid of another commander, Major General Ivan Popov, who dared to express everything that was boiling at the meeting. And the very process of disobedience to the military authorities has already received the name Prigozhin. The split between the cave warriors deepens. Where has the stability gone? Just yesterday, The ruble confidently defeated the enemy's money. And it looks like he won. The cave was left without currency. The net inflow of foreign currency on the current account of the balance of payments in April to June 2023 year-on-year collapsed by 14 times, or by 93%. The tax authorities will now write off money from the accounts of the magnatics themselves. If earlier the taxpayer himself had to transfer money through a website or a bank, now everything happens automatically. Comfortable, angry, technological. The state needs money, and it will be torn off the skreposhas along with their skins. And that is all. See the full version on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. I hugged everyone. I'll meet you tomorrow on Friday Live. Glory to Ukraine.